Hey guys. Am I live? I think so. Anyway, I'll do the draw pretty shortly. I know a lot of people will just be here for the draw, so I'm not going to keep you waiting. How about that World Cup game today? Anyone catch that? That was insane. I don't even watch soccer, but that was an experience. My mom and my aunts grew up in Argentina, so that was kind of special too. Yeah, Messi, unbelievable. What a way to end, well, kind of wind down his career. Got beautiful flurries here today. My new machine. Yeah, so I'm just gonna wait just a few minutes for people to filter in. How many people are here right now? 240. Okay. There were 2,000 something entries. I have a YouTube random comment picker thing ready to go here. Trying to read comments. Should put on my glasses. Oh, Romeo, I'm sorry about France, man. That's a tough loss, but you guys fought back beautifully. Yeah, so I was planning on doing the draw tomorrow. Aaron has COVID, and I am definitely coming down with COVID. So I wanted to do it today before I completely run out of steam, because tomorrow I'm probably going to be bedridden like Aaron has been all weekend. It's all good, though. Totally forgot to watch the game. Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah, so I'm already kind of low energy from coming down with this, but anyway, thank you. I'm sure I'll be fine. Aaron and I haven't had COVID yet. We made it all this time without getting it. So, oh well. I just hope that we get over it this week so we can see family for the holidays. Got tea here. Hello from Edmonton. Hello. Yeah, Erin's in the next room and she's in bed. She's asleep, so she might pop in later if she feels up to it. Okay, how many people? 332. Let's wait till we get to 400, and then I'll do the draw. Last seconds to enter the draw. If you're interested, which of course you are. It's an amazing hammock. If you have any questions about the drummer, I'd be happy to answer them here. There were 2,500 comments or something like that. What was it? 2,274 unique comments. I'll refresh that right before I do the draw. But so I couldn't respond to them all. It's just not possible. But if you have questions here, I'd be happy to, or we can just hang out for a little bit after. And if you have anything on your mind, you can ask. Thanks everyone for joining and entering the draw. Yeah, pretty good odds for a contest that only required a comment. Thank you. I'm sure we'll be fine. Sylvain, the weight of the ultralight kit with the ultralight pad and the ultralight tarp is just under 2 kilograms. I can't remember what the ultralight drummer specifically weighs, but anyway, the three of them combined weigh under 2 kilos. Is it chilly there today? Not too bad, actually. It's like -7, I think. So that's pretty Celsius. That's pretty mild. No, Erin's not drinking chaga tea. She's drinking like neocitrin and hot water, boiled water with lemon, stuff like that. Sorry, I'm not seeing all the comments. Some of them elude me. Are the hammocks available sold in Canada? That's a good question. You can only get Amok products through Amok's website, amokequipment.com. There are scams online, of course. There's scams for everything. including scammers in the comments on draw videos and giveaway videos. So there are no resellers, but you can get it on amokequipment.com. And they ship to most countries. MCJ, do the trees it gets attached to have to be a specific circumstance? I'm guessing that was circumference. No, but well, yes, but I don't know. I would say 8 inches would be my estimate, at the least, depending on the species too. Some species are pretty weak. Okay, what are we at? 397. We're close. At 400, I'll do the draw, just in case. I'm sure some of you need to check out. You're just here to see if you win. I'll be so upset if Xander wins, Chelsea says. Me too. I make some comments back to people. I might have left my own comments. It'd be pretty ironic if I won too, but obviously I would redraw it. And thank you so much. Yeah, Jennifer, and already feeling it, but doing all right. And thank you all so much for the beautiful comments on all sorts of videos, but on the giveaway video in particular. It kind of brings out people who might not comment normally, and I really appreciate it. Although, like I said, with thousands of comments, just can't respond to them all. Matt, I'm drinking tea, mint tea. Coffee I only have in the morning, or it keeps me awake. Honey and lemon, yeah, definitely getting on that too. Comment on the shorts video, but if you go to the home page for this channel, go to the shorts tab. There's now YouTube made a separate tab for shorts, and that's across YouTube. That's not my choice. And that video there, but you have like literally seconds left because there are now over 400 people on the stream. So I'm going to do it as promised. Let's give this away. Someone's Christmas is about to get very merry. I truly love these hammocks. Like, they're honestly the best. So I'm going to switch this around, and I have my other screen here where I'm going to draw it. I don't have like a special streaming software. You have to pay for a lot of them. So I'm just going to do it this way since I don't do a lot of live streams. So here we go. Sorry, it's going to be reversed, but I think you'll see it. Okay, so 4 + 5 = 9. Get YouTube comments. Filtered out duplicate entries. Like I said, there will only be 1 per person. It's counting up there. 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. And then once that finishes, it's almost there. 2306. I don't know if you can see that. What are people saying? Hopefully you can see it. Anyway, you'll see the winner when it comes up. There will be a photo and a name. And now, all I have to do is start. Amazing. Alex Clement. I don't know if you're on here. They said, would love to take this in Algonquin Park, backcountry on a clear, starry night. Awesome. Congrats, Alex. Sorry to the rest of y'all. I know that little part of you thinks, no, it's not going to be me, but maybe it'll be me. So sorry. But amazing for Alex. All right. Is Alex around? Probably not. But anyway, I'll message Alex on I'll reply to their comment. Don't see Alex in the chat, but there are a lot of comments flowing in right now. So I might, oh, there I am. Alex, hello, congrats. That's awesome you're here. Right on. So Alex, I'll get in touch with you. I'll respond to your comment. Make sure if you get a response to your comment, make sure It's from me with the little check mark beside Lost Lakes. I recently applied for the check mark only for that reason. I never really wanted the check mark, but because of scammers and impersonators, I had to get the check mark. So anyway, look for that comment, and we'll be in touch. It's great that you're here. Congrats. Very happy for you. Merry Christmas, everyone else, and Alex. And yeah, someone said they're going to buy. I missed it. It's gone now, but someone said they're going to go buy one instead. And yeah, that's a good call. All right. Well, yeah, that's that. If anyone else has any questions about the drummers or anything like that, Adam, do we have plans for the holiday? Yeah, heading south. My family's down south. Erin, every other holiday, Erin goes to see her family, and I go to see mine because I don't get to see them very often, and they live like 13 hours away. So I'm going to see them, and then hopefully Erin and I are winter camping for New Year's Eve, which has become sort of a tradition for us. Thanks a lot, Michael. Alan, when's the next video? There's a lot in the pipeline right now. At least one more this week. I did a 3-day trip. So I've planned some trips recently that haven't gone as planned just because it's early in the season and things just aren't locked up properly. So I had a 5-day trip planned, turned into a 3-day trip. I had a 7-day trip planned, it turned into a 4-day trip. So I'm working on those edits, and they'll be coming out very shortly. Along with one, I recorded some footage for a how-to hot tent video. So if you are just getting into hot tenting, I think it would be a pretty valuable video for speeding you along the learning curve. But yeah. Thomas says, Thomas Barrow, what's the coldest you would recommend for the hammock? I've done it. The coldest I've been in the drummer is -17. Hello. Come on in. Erin's all bundled up in her Middle Earth blanket. Yeah, coldest I've camped is -17 with the Winterlight pad. And that was chilly. I put a closed cell phone pad on top as well for a little more insulation. So that's about as cold as I would probably do with that. How you feeling?
Achy.
Mm-hmm.
A bit better.
Coming a little closer.
Sure.
She's looking a little pale.
Looking rough.
Yeah, I think we both are with the season, but especially right now. Grant, do you do this full time or is there another job? So I do this full time. Erin keeps a full-time job as an adult counselor. She just finished her master's in counseling psychology. So people often wonder why I'm solo quite often or Erin's not in the videos as much, but she has a real job. But I'm doing fine doing this, so that's cool. No, it's more than cool. It's the dream. Island Man, hopefully I answered your question there about Erin. Okay, Walker XY, thank you for asking this. Do you plan to keep making the recent shorter style videos, or do you want to do more multi-hour docu-style ones like the ones you did for a while? Does it depend on the footage you get? Completely depends on the footage I get. So some people will comment and say, maybe the short format's not for them. For me, the footage dictates the pace. So the video I just put out, that's on the -24 overnight camp. If I stretch that out to an hour, it'd be boring as heck. So it just depends on, but my preference is to make the longer ones. And I hope to start doing more longer trips very soon, but it's tough this time of year. Erin, have you tried a Hennessy hammock? Presume the Amok is way better. Yeah. Erin.
Yeah, I had the Hennessy was the first hammock I had, and I used it for a season before we had the Muck. I really liked it. The Muck's pretty luxury, so it's got a lot of kind of things that the Hennessy doesn't. But as far as just like a basic hammock to sleep in and go camping in with a bug net, I liked the Hennessy. It was a good hammock.
Yeah, Yep, certainly does the job. But we're in Team Amok now. Just love the drummer. Did she do her master's at Lakehead? No, it was at Athabasca, which is in Alberta, but did it online. J-Man, have you ever thought about writing a book? In a little bit, but I don't know if I have anything interesting enough to write about. And B, I definitely just don't have time. Like, I'm away tripping a third of the year, and when I'm home, I'm at my desk working on the channel 80 hours a week. So there's no way I would have time right now. But I kind of like the idea of doing it when my body quits on me. Hopefully when I'm like 80, but yeah, then that would be kind of fun to relive projects. Cam, Enders, are you going to come back to Lake Nipigon this summer? Definitely thinking about that. I'd love to go around the entire lake. It was so amazing, that little taste I got. IDLS, will you do any more collabs with Xander soon? Yep. Xander and I are planning to meet up in a few weeks with Brad from Explore the Backcountry as well. It's Brad's birthday today. Found Ponds, your new computer should help you process your videos faster. Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty sweet, but I've had some technical issues to work through as well with the new machine. Carlo Go, would you take trips outside of Canada, like Alaska or Scandinavia?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would like to, but I have so many ideas I'm excited about in Ontario that it's hard. Because it's just, I have a fishing license here, for instance. I don't have to drive for days or fly or transport gear across the country. So it's just so convenient to do that here. Blackfly Creations, ice fishing plan? Yep, for sure. I was hoping to do some by now, but lake ice has been kind of sketchy to start this season, and it's just not worth taking risks. Plus, I really only ice fish when it's a nice pleasant day now. If it's mild and sunny, yeah, maybe I'm just getting too old, but I can't. When it's minus 20 and there's a wind blowing, I just can't do it anymore. It's too painful. Sai says, come to the UK and buy an old guy a beer. What a great offer. I hear it's actually cold there right now too. You know, in the UK, people are telling me it's -7 or something, which is, I think that's pretty cold for the UK. Mark asks, have any big plans for this winter? Yeah, nothing ridiculous, but I'd like to go on more week-long trips, and not just base camp trips, but where I'm covering distance every day or every other day. It's hard with the hot tent, though. It's a lot of work to set up. And without the hot tent, it's cold and wet. So. Nikki says, Bruce from Wabakimi tried to sell me his outfit. Sounds like a good retirement gig, eh? Wow, interesting. Yeah, it's cool business. It's very unique. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Alvin says, how effective are your traditional snowshoes compared to the contemporary style? They look super light. How do you feel about your snowshoes?
Oh, I like them. They work well for me.
Yeah, she's got big wooden, like teardrop style ones.
Yeah.
And mine are Canadian military. They're magnesium and go like this, and then they have like a long tail. I don't know. I'm fine with them. I don't love them. They do the job though. I've been looking into backcountry skis, but they're pretty pricey. So 13 Prevail Bushcraft. What's up, guys? Happy holidays. Hey, man. Out there on the rock. Good to hear from you. Been watching Justin Barber's latest video lately. It's a good one. Justin Barber and I always seem to pick the same music off of YouTube. Has a music library for creators. He and I must have the same taste in music. It's funny. Thomas, what drone do you use? I've got a DJI Mavic Mini 3 Pro. and it's pretty amazing for what it does, but it's also kind of buggy. So I don't know. It's probably the best option you can get for the money, but not perfect either. And they struggle in the cold, but all things with batteries do. So just scanning for questions here. Worst live stream ever is probably what you're thinking, but we're both sick, so.
Yeah, I've got razor blades in my throat.
Yeah. Blackfly Creations again says you should apply for a loan. Yeah, I don't think I really have the skill set for a loan. Maybe the mentality. I think I could maybe handle the mental better than some of the contestants who go on the show, but skill-wise, I don't really practice those skills. Erin would probably be more suitable. She's kind of more into that stuff. What do you think?
Maybe. I feel like I need to practice, learn a bit more outdoor skills, but who knows? I think we do well together, maybe.
Yeah, I would love that if they did offered like a loan, a couples version of a loan, like they did for season 4 when they had family members together, and Jim and Ted won that one, which is amazing.
I'm more of a Survivor gal.
Yeah, Erin wants to go on Survivor. That's her dream.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Survivor. I would hate the politics. Michael, again, are you going to do Quetico again? Yeah, definitely. So much more to see there. And yeah, just so many options outside of Quetico. And I generally love Crownland trips where I'm completely free, no reservations. But Quetico is a special spot. Fishing is incredible. So I'll be back there.
Yeah. Once we move to Thunder Bay, too, it'll be closer.
Yeah.
It'll be 3 hours closer. So.
Mm-hmm. Zachary Bab says, are you going to attempt the igloo in a video again?
Yes.
Yes, definitely. We want redemption, but ideally not when it's so cold. We've tried it when it's really cold out, and the snow is kind of grainy then. And I'm told you can do it, and we've gotten close to doing it, but I think it would be so much easier in moderate temperatures. So. Oh, Derek, that's a good question. When he goes to the Amok equipment website, it changes to an E with a hyphen. So amok-equipment.com. Is that the real site? Yes. It just automatically redirects versus I think amokequipment.com is the American site. And then amok-equipment, it'll automatically redirect you there for international traffic. I think that was how it works. But yeah, that's legit. Jingle Puff, have you and Xander kissed? No. We've had some really good hugs, though.
No comment.
Aaron Curno, how are you liking your Vask boots? We like them a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Vask St.
Big
Elias.
fan. Yeah.
Aaron got them first, I think.
I did.
And I like them. They're pretty unisex, so I got a pair, and mine wore out, and I bought them again this past season, so I like them.
Yeah, they're really good boots.
Yeah. Mark says, with the military snowshoes, you can also shave off some of the magnesium to start a fire. I've heard that. I should try that. That'd be kind of fun. Nanok Cass says, I really want to see the process for your dehydrated camping meals. So I did like an overview video of my dehydrating process in April of 2021. If you want to go back to that video, maybe you've seen it already. But yeah, doing individual dehydrator meals, I just don't have time to do. I can barely keep up with content as it is.
Kevin Outdoors has good ones, though. That's where we've learned a lot of ours.
I was just going to say, yeah, that's my go-to for that stuff. Kevin Outdoors on YouTube, and then he has an awesome book called Backcountry Eats by Kevin Ride, his real name. J-Man, what's your favorite lake to take trips on? Superior.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard question to answer in a way because there's 250,000 lakes in Ontario alone, and there's so many amazing lakes, but Superior still just stands out to me. It's like when you go to the mountains and you're just like, whoa. It kind of feels like that. It's the lake version of
pretty awesome.
of mountains. It just fills you with awe. Okay, I'm at the bottom of comments. I just scroll down. Found Pond says, "Can we have some live Golem?" I don't know.
Do it.
I'll sprinkle it in at some point.
Good question.
I'm not much of a live performer. Eric asks, "Saw you started using Darn Toughs. How do they compare to your other wool sock brands? I love mine." Yeah, actually, my Darn Tough pair has held up really well. I've had it for a couple of years, actually. And yeah, it's held up better than most. I've tried a lot, and I'd say the Darn Toughs are actually working pretty well. They have a lifetime guarantee. I just don't think I would take them up on a lifetime guarantee. Like,
you want to send back your used socks?
I'm assuming they don't ask for them back. I don't know how that works, but anyway, they're pretty pricey. But yeah, they seem to be good, so that's important. That's more important. Photo girl. This is a good question. I get asked this all the time. Forgive me for not knowing, but did you two get married? No, not yet. We got engaged last summer, and we plan to get married next year. How's the grip on wet rock with the Vask boots? It could be a bit better. Yeah, it's not amazing for that. It's not terrible, but there are better shoes out there for wet grip. Barrett asks, "Aaron, what are the pants you're wearing out there? I see John wears Cool, which are great." Your pants?
Oh, I've got Fall Raven pants. John got me a couple years ago for, a birthday gift. And they're great. I really, really like them. They're really comfortable and just a really good fit for outdoor stuff. Sorry.
Maybe they can't hear your sniffles.
Yeah, I hope not.
Sherm the Bear, do you film every time you do anything outdoors? Not day trips, no. Overnight trips, yeah, because now I make a living doing it. So, like, and I love filming too. It's not a hassle for me.
Yeah.
It's like fishing. It's just something that enhances being in nature for me, getting to frame shots, and yeah, I love thinking about it. But I was saying to Brad and Xander the other day that I might stop filming short trips eventually. I don't really feel invested in those projects, and it's the long trips that I really love to do. But I don't know. We'll see. Favorite meal when in the backcountry? Do you have one?
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal. She loves oatmeal.
Garlic bread.
Garlic bread and chili is pretty great. Like,
yeah.
I've never been disappointed to eat that.
That risotto that you made was good.
Yeah, the mushroom and spinach risotto, another one from Kevin Ride's book. Matthew asks, "Why do you have no respect for the difference between breakfast food and non-breakfast food?"
That's a good question.
Yeah, I like how you phrased it.
Valid.
Breakfast foods, traditional camping breakfast, to me have not enough nutrition or they're more perishable. Things like bacon and eggs are obviously more perishable. You can get pre-cooked bacon, but anyway, we don't eat a lot of meat to begin with. And yeah, I just I question the status quo, I guess. Why are breakfast foods only for breakfast? Who decides that? 13 Prevail Bushcraft took my kids out today and found a nice Christmas tree. Are you guys team real tree or team artificial?
Real.
Yeah, real, I guess, just because there's such an abundance here in Northern Ontario, north of Sudbury, Ontario. You're allowed to harvest one tree for a Christmas tree, but we didn't this year. Just slipped away from us. But yeah,
I've always been real. We
There's-
always did it as a family too. Would go out and pick one and decorate and stuff. So it's part of it for me. I like it.
Yeah.
And it smells good.
And I feel bad killing any live tree. But if you take one at the side of a road, for instance, like a forestry road, eventually it's going to get killed anyway. So like that's a good one to take because it's not going to be allowed to live for long. So. What?
Does anyone have any good recommendations to watch binge movies while I'm sick? TV shows. Gladly accepting.
Three Fish Academy says, any plans for traveling to Quebec lakes? I was just watching Jim and Tori Baird's family road trip that they're doing out east up to Labrador, and they passed by Lake Menacoogan, I think it's called. Anyway, it's like a massive ring-shaped lake. That lake has always interested me. I think that's still in Quebec. Yeah, not Labrador. And seeing it in their video really heightened that desire. So that would be my top thought. But I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, there's just so many options for me here close by. It's hard to justify driving and having to get a new fishing license for a different province. Stephen Collins, any chance you'll ever go out with the Bear Brothers? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. The reason you don't see me meet up with too many different people is because we're really far up north on the north shore of Lake Superior. A lot of the people in Ontario that do this genre are in southern Ontario. So we tend to be pretty far apart, and that makes it logistically more difficult. But yeah, I think that'll happen someday. Just in case anyone's wondering, we did the draw a while ago. So if that's why you're here, just a heads up. Jason Matthews, did Xander ever try to crawl into your muck in the wee hours? No, we're both pretty big dudes, so we would definitely exceed the weight limit. But he did try it when we did our St. Raphael trip 2 years ago. No, a year and a bit ago. Our first trip together. He tried it and he farted. He got into it and he unleashed a big fart in my hammock. So probably still has trace amounts of his fecal matter. Someone says Ozark. Keith says Ozark is something you could watch. Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Of course. She's actually not a huge Breaking Bad fan. I loved it. I love Bryan Cranston. Prison Break.
Prison Break is a good
Stephen
one.
Collins. The Life of Bry says, is Superior haunted? Have you ever seen the Wendigo? I don't know if it's haunted, but it's definitely a spiritual place. And the Wendigo is like the most disturbing mythological creature out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that with my coworker on our way up to Greenstone. I don't get too scared out there, and not much spooks me, but that's one thing that if I think too hard about when I'm out there, I get the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Henry says Andor is a good show.
Okay.
We've been meaning to watch that one. We're Star Wars fans, especially me.
And Wednesday I see is popular these days. I haven't checked it out yet.
Oh yeah, Found Pond says popular. Wednesday. Yeah. Carlo Go says Wednesday as well. Okay. I don't even know what Wednesday is, but I keep hearing about it.
Wednesday Addams.
I'm not sure.
Addams family.
Okay. Best type of wood in a hot stove. That's a good question.
Whatever's available.
Yeah, sometimes you can't be too choosy if you set up somewhere and there's only so many options around, especially in the boreal forest. Usually we're burning spruce, sometimes balsam fir or jack pine if we can find it. That's our top choice because it has more BTUs. Hardwoods are ideal, but we don't have any hardwoods here in the boreal forest. We've got birch, but birch is hermetically sealed. The bark keeps in the moisture, so it rots.
Yeah, it's not a good one if it hasn't been split and seasoned properly.
Yeah, you have to cut birch while it's live or just died and then dry it out. And then it's great firewood, but in the bush, you rarely find it dry. It rots. Dan L., what would be an essential gear you shouldn't cheap out on? What would you say?
That's a good question. Let me think.
I think I would go maybe tarp. Tarp is such an important item for comfort and survival. Like if you
Yeah.
ended up in a survival situation,
That's true.
you really need a solid tarp.
I mean, boots, because I lost my soles once, and that was a bummer. I'm gonna think about that because there's definitely some things that I've experienced where I'm like, oh, it's so worth having the quality. I'd say boots and probably base layer.
What Stylist Meets Vinyl says, what is the most unsafe you have felt out in the bush? What would you say?
Oh, that's a good question.
Your accident? You were in the bush.
My accident.
Your car crash.
Oh, that, I guess. But once I it happened quick, and then I knew I was fine. I don't know if I've ever had any. I guess maybe I haven't had any like situations where I felt like I'm in over my head or not. Or the Quincy collapse, I guess, was the scary too.
Yeah, it was so briefly scary though.
Yeah,
we were building
like accident.
We were digging out a Quincy. I was inside digging it out, and it collapsed on me. But like, I sprung out moments later.
That didn't feel good. So
I don't know
I'm
what.
gonna go with that.
I know I've had moments. Oh, actually, on the trip with Xander on the Puckasaw River this season, I was really rattled by our first day. Like, it just did not go well, and I wasn't scared, but I was rattled. And then out on Lake Superior, we got caught in some pretty big swells. Video will never do swells justice. If you ever get the opportunity, film waves or swells on your cell phone even.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I mean. They do not come across on camera.
That's a good one. I'd say there was one trip it was a couple of years ago. We actually came home. We were gonna go for a Easter trip first on Superior, and we went and we spent one night. I think we couldn't get to where we wanted, so we just like spent one night, and then we're coming home. And the whole paddle back was pretty sphincter clenching. I didn't enjoy it, and it was early. It was early in the season, so it felt that one wasn't good. I didn't like that. So that's probably the most unsafe I felt for like a period of time where I felt uncomfortable, like we might have made a mistake.
Sherm the Bear of Bears says, "Is the Gravel River still on your radar?" Yeah, Gravel River is a notorious river in my area, but it looks amazing on a topo map. It's like you can see it on Google Maps. If you look north of Lake Superior, you'll see, if you turn on the topo mode, you'll see this deep groove in the land. I've even the thought of trying to do it this winter has gone through my mind, but it's probably too rough terrain. Narrow 2010 says, "What is the way to check if land is Crown land?" CLUPA, the Crown Land Use Policy Atlas. I've got a video. It was one of my first videos actually on how to do this. Pine Martin on YouTube has a video on this. Kevin Callan has a video on this. So Google those, and they'll walk you through. Any of us can walk you through those steps on CLUPA.
How about that FIFA finale?
Yeah, I brought up that first, the World Cup game. Just incredible.
That's good.
Jane Stoddart says, "Aaron, watch the Loader Extended, and if you have the DVD, watch the cast comments."
Oh, yeah. I haven't done that for a while.
Yeah, we did binge after Aaron finished her Masters. That was how she wanted to celebrate, was by watching all three Lord of the Rings movies back to back to back. And we did it. I've attempted the back to back to back a few times before, but I haven't made it. It's like 10 hours.
Yeah, that was John's first time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think the last time I watched the extended versions with the cast comments and director's comments was last time I was really sick, which has been a while. I was home and I did that, so maybe I'll do it again. Good suggestion, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Someone lost the comment now, but someone asked, "Do you know or follow Adam Schultz?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him. We've never spoken. well, actually once very briefly a long time ago, but yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I love his books and his trips and his videos, the rare videos that he does. His Alone Across the Arctic video was posted on Vimeo a couple of years ago, and I bought that. It's now available on YouTube. If you ever want to, if you're looking for an incredible crossing of the Arctic solo, 4 months, that's a good one to check out. Rod Kotzma says, do you plan on taking any advanced whitewater training or whitewater rescue courses? Yeah, I still would love to. Yeah, we plan to move pretty soon. We're looking for a house elsewhere, and if we do move there, it would be easier to get that sort of course. We live in a small town right now, so and I love that, but trying to get services in a small town like that is challenging. Scorpion Killer, what do you use for water purification on your trips? Use a platypus gravity filter, 4 liters, but you can't use it in winter because or even early spring or late fall, because freezing temperatures will ruin the filter. So the rest of the year I'm boiling, but I do love that in the summer.
Excuse my open mouth. I keep getting glimpses of myself, and I'm sitting here with my mouth gaping open because my nose is plugged. That's my breathing vessel, okay?
Burn, hey Burn, I just saw your comment. You should do more of these live streams. Well, I'm glad you think so. I feel like this must be really boring to watch because we're both sick. But anyway, thank you, and thank you so much again for the Christmas scotch that you always send us. You're way too kind. Burn sent us
Thanks, Burn.
a beautiful Ardbeg.
We'll see if that'll kill the germs.
Yeah. Very kind comment from Tobias. I won't read it because I just feel weird reading compliments, but it says, Germany loves you. Thank you. It's really interesting in the YouTube analytics, seeing where people come from, and like anyone else's channel, I'm sure it's nothing special about us, but they're all around the world, and a good number of people from Germany, so that's cool. I've been to Germany in 2008. I was there backpacking.
I was there. Been there twice.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
B-Lom, you have to bring out your dad again to camp. He was awesome. Yeah. Sure is, and hopefully we'll keep up that annual tradition. Jeff Delargy says, I never see you hang your food. Do you not bear hang your food? It's a great question. I actually kind of omit this deliberately. In the boreal forest, you'll rarely get big trees that have open limbs that you can throw a rope over. And even doing a 2-tree method is very difficult because the trees are just so full of boughs. So usually people in this region will not hang. However, if you're in hardwoods and you have the opportunity to hang, you definitely should, especially in popular parks where bears get habituated. Up here, to encounter a habituated bear in the wild, like their canoe routes here are so seldom traveled that you're not going to run into habituated bears very often. So thankfully, just tucking it away from the night. I don't sleep beside it because that's just needless risk, but often I'll set something on top of it, like a pot or pan, and to try and make some noise, but if it gets disturbed. But
the barrel that's supposed to contain smell.
Yeah, it does to an extent.
Yeah, it's not.
The barrel seals tight, so it should contain scents pretty effectively, but they'll probably trace smells. Like bears have such a good sense of smell, way better than dogs.
Yeah.
So they can probably smell just like, and it doesn't have to be food either. It can be toothpaste, or if you had a fish.
Yeah.
If you took a fish into the canoe, it could smell that, the leftover residue from that. So some people use the top of their barrel, the lid, as a fish, like to fillet a fish on, which I find crazy because that's like so smelly. Eudaimonia Trout says, if you're doing backwoods camping, you really don't want to cheap out on anything. I definitely agree, but it takes a lot of time to build up a kit with quality gear too. And I started out with lots of cheap stuff, but I started out with really easy trips too. So you buy what you can, but yeah, I would definitely recommend trying to save up to buy quality gear before quickly buying cheap gear, because it won't last. Backcountry travel is too rough. Bridget Lent, how long does it take to plan your meals / menus for trips? Not too long, because I dehydrate huge amounts of food in the spring, and that usually sees me through. Like, I'm still using food from my dehydrating batch in spring 2021. I've run out of a couple of meals, but I've still got a fair amount left. So that lasts me a long way. Because I'm tripping so often, I can't spend a lot of time on trip planning or meal planning. So having those foods available in the freezer, our chest freezer, is really convenient. And I do keep them in the chest freezer just to prolong their just make so they don't go bad. Barroquin Records, ever gotten badly injured while out on an adventure?
I've had a couple, I guess minor bad, depends on, but so I think my ankle in Quetico was the worst that I rolled. That one was really painful. And then just this summer when I kind of hyperextended my knee, I got lucky. It actually didn't do too much damage in the long term, but it was really painful at the time, and we had to cut our trip a little short as a result. And I think that's it. How about you?
Yeah, I've recently tweaked an LCL injury. I blew up my knee at hockey years ago, and had a pretty bad injury then, and it's been coming back to haunt me a little bit lately. So,
and that time that you hurt, you had something out in your back one time. Didn't you rib?
Yeah, I threw up my back once on a fairly remote trip, and sleeping was actually the hardest part. Sleeping that night after I threw up my back was very difficult. Mm-hmm. But once I started moving again the next day to backtrack and get out, it loosened up a little bit. It was still painful, but yeah, thankfully we've not had any injuries that prevented us from continuing or at least getting ourselves out.
I cut my finger one time.
Yeah, she cut her finger pretty deep.
Stitches.
Got stitches the next day when we got out. Nanok Cass says, is that a step 2? What's step 2? Do you know? I don't know. Maybe you're asking about our drink. The drink. It's just it's a dealcoholized lemonade radler. Dealcoholized just because I try to only drink on Friday and Saturday, just to avoid getting into bad habits. Exception is camping trips. So I allow myself to have a sip of scotch if I'm out there, if I want to.
Yeah.
Evan Hammond says, have you ever hiked in the Rockies? Have you?
Yes, a little bit. My dad lived out west for 12 or 13 years, and so I'd go spend time living with him, summers with him, and we did some different hikes. Nothing substantial, no overnights or things like that. So I'd love to. And I was just out there in September with my sister, visiting a friend, and it's gorgeous. I'd love to go do some more.
The coastal mountains, right?
Yeah.
Coastal range?
Yeah, the coastal range. But we just got invited to a wedding out there next summer. So maybe some will.
Rockies are so beautiful. A couple people have asked when's the wedding date, so we're planning for next summer or fall.
Yeah, neither of us are like big wedding people, big event people, planners. So we're kind of putting off having to plan a wedding, but
yeah, we're keeping it as like insanely small as possible.
Yeah, and we're just both pretty happy and content right now. So
yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we're already married. So
yeah,
we just need a ceremony, piece of paper, and a couple of rings.
A couple of nice pictures.
Seal the deal.
I gotta see him without his beard.
Oh yeah,
Aaron is a condition of our nuptials.
I never clean shave anymore. I just trim my beard, and Erin has never seen me clean shaven, so I have to do that for her at some point. I'll probably record a little bit of content on that because I think it'll be pretty
You
funny.
should do a fundraiser. Like, I like the beard. I just think that it would be weird to not know what's underneath it before I decide to spend the rest of my life with you.
That's fair. Shane Clark says, just found your channel in the past week. I've been binging your videos. Brilliant content. Thanks a lot, Shane. Steve says, do you ever fish topwater? Not too much anymore, but sometimes I wish I did. We don't have bass around here, believe it or not. And not that, you can fish topwater for brook trout or pike, but I don't know. I always loved it for bass because they really blow up on it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just trolling these days. Like, I feel like I have so much to do on camping trips, and I spend so much time filming that I've become much more of a fisherman of convenience. I just do I fish in convenient ways, take a couple of casts at an outlet of rapids, but yeah, I get to fish so much now that I just don't, not
driven by it the same way.
Yeah, I am not as like insanely obsessed as I used to be. Island Lake RC suggests you binge Corner Gas. Did you like Corner Gas?
So that's on my actual list to watch because I've watched. I'd see it when it was on in the past, but then after moving to Geraldton years ago, I realized that I would probably relate to it a lot more. So after spending 4 years in Geraldton and 3 years in Marathon, I feel like it would be even funnier after living that really small town life. So
I used to watch it.
Did you?
Yeah. I used to like it a lot. It's kind of like Canadian Seinfeld. It's kind of witty.
I think so. That's a good suggestion.
NR8 says, do you see this Canadian outdoor adventuring category as growing? Where will it be in 5 years' time? That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely growing. COVID really set outdoor activities on a trajectory that I think has been rapid growth. And I think this genre on YouTube has been growing as a result.
Yeah. There's some really, and there's some really great people making content in this area. It's super cool that there's so many cool people doing it in Ontario, and it seems to be gaining some popularity. So hopefully it continues to grow.
Yeah, and where will it be in 5 years' time? It's a good question.
We'll all be sellouts.
I often wonder how long this is going to last. How long will this dream last? Camping for a living. Will YouTube exist in 5 years? Who knows? Like, look what just happened to Twitter. Is Twitter going to survive another year? Maybe not. So who knows what's going to happen to YouTube?
And that's why I keep my full-time job.
Yeah, so it's good that she has a separate job so that it gives us stability, work. And she loves her work. Yeah,
I'm lucky that way, but it is nice to have that dual stability where I get to do what I love and long-term stability, and I don't ride the wave as long as YouTube's popular.
Trinity Team HSV says, what thermal device were you using in your last vid? So it's FLIR 1 Pro. This isn't a sponsorship. I paid for this. We pay for almost all of our own stuff, so we have control of our content, by the way. Some people think that some things are ads, but it's hard not to show brands sometimes. They're just on stuff. I actually try to cover up brands. But anyway, it just plugs in, and then this is the infrared camera. So I thought that was pretty cool. They're not cheap. FLIR, FLIR. But I wanted to do that forever, and I plan to do it a lot more.
A Black Friday sale?
Yeah, and I got it on a Cyber Monday sale, so it was like 50% off. And I'm excited to use it in the hot tent too. I want to see the stove and study there's a lot you can learn from it. You can People have told me you can use it on your car to look for like hot spots on your brakes. You can look for heat leaks around your home. So they're kind of cool.
We learned that my nose doesn't work.
Your nose? Oh, yeah. We at home we use this on ourselves just to like look at our bodies and faces. And Aaron's nose was super cold.
I got frostbite, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, pretty bad on my nose, and I think it did some damage because it always feels cold, and then on there it was just dark, so I don't think I get much blood flow in there from my old snout.
Lisa Johnston says, how about an all-woman canoe trip? Aaron and Karina from Alexis Outdoors, and lots of other names you could add to that too. Yeah. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be super fun.
I would
Tori
love to
and
see
Heather
that.
I'd like to get together with.
Yeah.
Karina, who else?
Many others.
Yeah,
A lot of great women doing this
Leah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Dude BK, how did you originally get plugged in with Amok? So I reached out to them. A viewer suggested to put them on my radar. I didn't know about them. I think that was Kevin, and I looked into them, and I was really interested. At the time I was looking for a new hammock. I was just using a traditional gathered end hammock, and I liked it, but that was like a really cheap one, just for more so for hanging out in your backyard, that kind of hammock. And I reached out, and yeah, they hooked us up, and they've been hooking us up every year since. We get a new delivery of gear every year, so they've been super kind, and they provide us with hammocks for giveaways on the channel. They don't ask you to do anything. We don't ask you to do anything. We don't want to like manipulate you into subscribing, because how long is that going to last, right? You like subscribe for a draw and then you leave. So I don't think that works. But anyway, we're just happy to give back, and we made Alex Clement's holidays a little brighter. That was the winner. If you missed it, oh, and there he is in the or she. I'm not. I can't see the photo, and Alex could be guy or girl. Alternate Advil and Tylenol. Only thing that brought any relief when I had COVID.
Oh, good to know.
That and lots of sleep. Interesting.
Okay. I've been on the Tylenol, but Tylenol and Neocitrin.
The Joe Win. How many pairs of specs do you own between you two?
Glasses?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like probably 3 pairs of like subpar like glasses that I bought online cheap that I wear on camping trips, like from Clearly Contacts or whatever. And then I have my one nice quality prescription pair. And then I have a pair of prescription sunglasses, which I pretty much never bring camping. And then I have my one nice pair of sunglasses that are a pair of dragon glasses I've had since before I knew John. So, and those are the ones I wear camping. I replace the lenses every once in a while. That's my sunglass and glasses lineup. How about you?
Well, yeah, she's a lot more stylish than I am, I guess. When I had to buy new glasses, I was like, okay, I'll take this one, and they had a 2-for-1 sale. So I was like, I'll take a second pair of the same ones. I'm a rube.
You also don't need your I wear if I'm when we're out on trips I have contacts on, like I don't I need glasses or contacts to not be bumbling around more than I already do. So
I only need them for the computer. They help me read elsewhere, but yeah, I don't need them.
Oh, I can't see the name, but someone said that them and their boyfriend camp and kayak in Wisconsin and Michigan. Do you guys ever go to? I've done Bay of Islands in Wisconsin. It's beautiful. It's really nice paddling on Superior there.
Sheila Collins is the name.
Sheila. Yeah, if you're.
Oh, is that like Painted Rock area?
I don't know. No? Okay. It's like all these sea caves, and you like go in and out of.
I think that's Painted Rocks.
Maybe Bayfield. It's by Bayfield, Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's very nice. Some really, really nice kayaking in around there. I've done a bit. My family kayaks, so I've done a couple adventures with them over on that side of the border. And we're heading over to Luton for Christmas. The 4 of us, if I get better in Minnesota.
Jay asks, have you ever encountered bears when camping? Yeah, tons. I've seen a lot of black bears. We have a lot in northern Ontario, Canada. We don't have grizzly bears here. Those are out west and in the territories as well. Barren ground grizzly bears. And polar bears are the nearest polar bear to us here should be about 500 kilometers to the north on Hudson Bay. But I've never had an issue. Not to say that you won't. I carry bear spray on my hip 3 seasons out of the year, not in winter because they're in a state of torpor. So it's unlikely to see one. They should be denned up. But I respect them. Similar question, Downey's primitive skills. Have you ever had a problem bear come into your camp? No, I don't think I've personally seen a problem bear, but I've seen them online.
I have.
They do exist.
Growing up, we would see that, like, it would be semi-common in the provincial parks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And never, I don't think at risk. Like, it's in the provincial park, and they're just way too climatized, so they'll wander in if you don't pack your food up. So, just in that way, but.
Contestor 7 says, is it live or is it Memorex? It's live. E says, any thoughts on the Ursack bear bags?
Oh, I want to try one. I'd like to try it because when I go solo, like, I'd like to do some more solo camping, and I'd like to not have to take, like, my pack and the barrel and the canoe. So I wouldn't mind getting a bear bag that I can attach to my pack. So that's as far as my thoughts on that go. Intrigued, I will say.
Flo says, any plans to come out west here to BC? We've got so much to explore here in Canada. So you said we're invited to a wedding out west?
Well, maybe. Cassia was. I assume we will be too.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, we might have a wedding out on the island next summer. So.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully we get up to something. When is the wedding? June or July? I can't remember. I didn't actually get my invite. My sister just did, but.
Bill Swartzwelder sends a nice comment along with the question, do you work besides YouTube? What line of work did you do before? Yeah, I do YouTube for work now. That's how I pay the bills. Erin, as we mentioned, does adult counseling, but before,
I'm a psychotherapist.
She's a psychotherapist now that she's done her master's.
And passed my exam.
And passed her exam, which is amazing. But yeah, I did GIS before, made maps, and before that, my first career was in marketing. Narrow 2010 again asks, do you ever plan on getting a dog?
Probably not.
Yeah. I personally would find it really hard to bring a dog through some of the stuff that we go through, such as extreme cold and extreme bugs. And I don't know, I'd say for a good third of the year, you're going to have one of those two scenarios. Yeah, I don't know. You can definitely do it, but it's a challenge.
It's an added commitment and a lot of work. Yeah. I'd rather get a camping cat.
Yeah, we have 2 cats, but if we get another one, we'd like to raise it so that it is more adventurous.
Yeah.
And would kind of come on like base camp camping trips with us. Just it would be so fun.
My family cat, Tuna, was like that. We rescued him when he was really young, so he just was happy if he was with us. And especially this last summer, he spent the whole summer just with my family camping, and it was super fun. He just loved it. So yeah, maybe one day.
Contestor 7 says, where are the Doritos? I put away 2 bags yesterday, full-size bags. So today I'm laying off.
I'm on the saltines.
Jill C, I wanted to buy a Billy Bellows, but website is not current. Yeah, we're not. Aaron's dad isn't making them right now. Taking a break indefinitely, but thank you for looking. Appreciate it. thank you all for the really kind comments. I won't read them because, yeah, I just feel weird doing that, but I appreciate them. Favorite Scotch? Denny on the Fly asks. Lagavulin is probably my favorite, but any single malt Isla is good in my books. And it doesn't have to be single malt or an Isla. I'm not too picky, but yeah, that would probably be my pick. Do you have? You'll have Isla Mist. That's my cheap go-to. It's a blended Scotch, so it's not a single malt, but it is good. Roger Daniel, do you guys play music? Just skip back to the bottom. No. Sadly, no. Played some instruments growing up. I played a bit of piano, a bit of flute and clarinet in grade school, and I wish I kept any of them up. I would love, especially flute. I love the sound of the flute, and it's actually something you could bring on a backcountry trip. And imagine hearing the flute across a still lake in the morning. It would be otherworldly. Found Pawns asks, what are your feelings on my video post? So Found Pawns is not us. Xander made a joke in an episode about like a spin-off channel called Found Pawns, and this individual pounced on that and created an account. Some people think that's us, but it's not. I think they're fun. Like,
yeah,
go fun for it. I get a copyright notification whenever you make videos, but I don't know. I think it's fun, so I have no reason to stop you from doing it. Island Lake RC, did you get sick when Xander drooled on you? Yeah, I got like every disease imaginable.
Probably where this COVID came from.
Yeah. You planted a COVID seed in us, and that's how we got sick. Fionn Mager, what camera equipment do you use for your river vids? Well, I have a lot of cameras, but my main camera is now a Panasonic S5. It's a full frame camera. That's what's allowed me to take better night shots this year of the stars and northern lights. Although it's just been an amazing year for northern lights too, better than ever. And then several other cameras: Panasonic FZ300, GoPro Hero 7, Osmo Action, DJI Osmo Action 3, which I just got, but I'm not very happy with it. And a few others that you'll see. It's kind of specialty cameras like a ice fishing camera or a infrared camera, stuff like that. Gringo Can Do, are you from around Nipigon? Yeah, we're on the north shore of Lake Superior, but we're planning to move soon, so. Island Lake RC, any tips for keeping ticks away? We're really lucky. We don't really have to deal with ticks too much here. I've never found one on me. On our Quetico trip, I had a weird reaction on my hip, and I think it could have been a tick. I got it checked out at the hospital, and they just tested me for STIs, so that wasn't very helpful. AVR Lover, love from SC, South Carolina. I'm assuming that's with the SC that you're talking about. Thank you. Are you planning any upcoming spring trips? Yeah. So that the trip I did that we titled The Land Before Time, where I paddled from across the north shore of Lake Superior, basically, long story short. I want to do that with Aaron next spring. Really excited to do that. Last spring, I did the Pakasaw River and Superior Coast with Xander. We're thinking about a similar trip for next year, but I've got so many trips I want to do next season, so it's going to be a busy one.
Yeah.
Very excited. Stephen Smith. Hey guys, ever explored Algonquin Park? Some really nice routes there. Yeah, you've never been, eh?
Never been.
Yeah, Erin grew up in the north, so she's never been within proximity. And I, now that we live up north, it's like really far away for us. So, but when I lived in Toronto and in southern Ontario, I lived in Lindsay area for a while near Peterborough. Then I did trips around Algonquin. I've never done Algonquin backcountry because I was always trying to save my pennies back in that time in my life. So I wanted to camp on Crown land and not pay for camping fees. So, but I've done car camping in Algonquin a number of times along Highway 60 and the northern parks as well. And it's beautiful. I love it. But there's so many endless Crown land camping opportunities around us that are free, and we don't have to drive hardly anywhere to get to them, which is nice.
And you've maintained routes and trails are nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. The routes around here are pretty rugged, so not always a walk in the park, but it's pros and cons. Like to have a route like that that's so wild is amazing, and there's a sense of adventure that it brings.
We're gonna go make a smoothie and go to bed.
Okay, thanks for popping in. Erin's gonna make a smoothie and go to bed.
Bye, everyone.
I would have a bit.
Yeah, I'll bring you some.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See you guys soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll wrap this up pretty soon, I think. I'm amazed anyone's still sticking around.
Can I get a little Smeagol before I go?
I don't know what to say in a Smeagol voice.
Sneaking?
Drinking pearls and sun curls are so sweet.
Goodbye.
Okay, see you in a bit. Everyone says bye. And Merry Christmas. Okay. So the comments bounce around on me. I'm really sorry if I'm missing yours. Stephanie Plamondon, hello. Have you already made an expedition to La Vérandie Park in Quebec? If yes, how did it compare to the experience in Wabakimi? I think I was in that park years ago. It was probably 10 years ago, car camping. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I did visit that one. Sorry, I can't pronounce it better, but and it was beautiful. Wabakimi is like more of a wilderness park. The park you're talking about reminded me more of an Algonquin, if I remember correctly. But beautiful, nice valleys. Yeah, it reminded me of Algonquin a lot. Ty says you should do a collab with Northern Scavenger. Love your guys' channels. I would love that too. They're hard guys to get a hold of. They kind of we've been in contact now and then, but they kind of save their vacation time for their big expeditions that they do. And I love watching those trips. But yeah, I don't think they have a lot of vacation left for meeting up with people. Am I late? Did I miss the drawing? Yeah, it was probably like 10 or 15 minutes in. Alex Clement was the winner. Kess, Erin's sister, Kessia, says square. I'm assuming that was aimed at Erin for leaving. Or there's a good chance I would have said something square. Oh, I did my Smeagol impression. Maybe that was it. All right. I'm missing so many of them, but Clifford Wright, really enjoy your videos. You become my favorite YouTuber. Thank you so much, Clifford. And I've seen your name in comments for a long time. Really appreciate that. Oh no, Xander's here. Oh no. I should wrap this up if Xander's here. What's up, brother? Yeah, Xander and I are meeting up pretty shortly for a hot tenting trip. Gringo Can Do again asks, do you have a sat phone? Not a sat phone. We have a messaging device, Zolio, and that allows you to check the weather. You can send emails and texts, but not phone calls. So technically no, but yeah, that's been amazing. I'm so happy to have that. Checking the web, not checking in with Aaron is just essential for the amount of time I spend doing these camping trips, but also weather is invaluable. When are Xander and Aaron doing a video? That would be fun. We should all do a trip together at some point. But yeah, with Aaron, Xander and I do this full time, and Aaron doesn't, so it's kind of hard to coordinate. And that's part of the reason why Xander and I meet up so much. Obviously, and we get along incredibly well, like brothers. But we both do this for a living, so like we make our own schedules for doing trips like this. Good night, Sai. Thanks for checking in. I'm sure it's getting late there. Merry Christmas. Do you have favorite stick stove? Says JB Zizzle. There are these ones from canoepaddler.net. It's like a small shop in Manitoba, I believe, and they have this Nomad Series 1 in titanium, which I really like for summer because it's super lightweight and it is long enough that you can actually put a good sized pan on. Some stick stoves are so small that you put a big pan on it and it really stifles the draw, and then it's not burning as well. So I like that one. And then recently I've been using the same stove but a little twice as wide, and that one's stainless steel. You've seen that in my latest videos perhaps, and that one's better in winter when I need a bit more firepower to boil water. Brian Adventures, have you been using the bidet in the cold? No. So that'll be a 3-season item for me. Just trying to get, if you can take it down to the lake and fill it up, that's really convenient. But in winter, I'm not always around open water. And yeah, so, but in winter, if you want to clean up, you can just use a snowball. So they're right there. You can even fully wipe with snowballs if you want. It's not that bad, actually. Barroquin Records, what new gear are you hoping to get for Christmas? I feel like I've already got myself all my Christmas wish list. I got a new stove, new tent, and new freight toboggan for the season. So I spoiled myself, and yeah. I don't think there's anything right now I'm dying to get for winter, but for spring I am hoping to get more of a whitewater tripping dedicated canoe, not like a little play boat. Some people have little play boats, like Xander's last video you might have seen with him and Max and Marty Morissette. Xander was using a play boat, but no, I'm looking for more of like a tripping style, so kind of a hybrid that can do big canoe trips but also handle whitewater better, ideally in T4mex so it can take some hits. Victor Perez, do you ever feel dread or burnt out from all the trips? That's a great question. No, trips almost always excite me. Overnight trips don't really. Like I did that overnight one at -25 just recently because I wanted to test my sleep system. Like that was the main reason, just testing my limits on a not big trip. That's why I went out for that. And the overnighters are fun, but I'm not really emotionally invested in that project. What burns me out, like I said earlier, to make content, believe it or not, it takes me, when I'm home, 80 hours a week. But keep in mind, I'm away tripping for a third of the year. And that can wear me down, but if I'm really enjoying the project, then it doesn't. But the one thing that does burn me out sometimes are nasty comments. It's part of the territory, and I totally understand that. But getting questioned, insulted, sometimes every hour of every day can get pretty old, and you just want to kind of take a break from comments. At the same time, I appreciate, like, most of the comments, 99% of them are so nice and supportive. So I don't want to miss that either. So I'm not gonna move away from the comments. I used to try and respond to every comment, and that was and is important to me, but it's just not possible anymore. Unfortunately, I do try and at least read them all. But even that gets hard sometimes, especially when I have a video like this draw where thousands of comments come in. It's just imagine 1,000 comments coming into your inbox. Yeah, it's just not possible to keep up with them. But anyway, some people say, sorry for all the comments or something, and those are usually the really nice people. Never apologize for all the comments. They help the channel because engagement on the videos helps YouTube recommend it more, and B, it keeps me afloat when you're saying something really nice, even if you've written 100 nice comments before. Like, it keeps my spirits up when I have to deal with the things that every YouTuber deals with. But I'm so lucky to do what I do. I'm not complaining at all, but believe me, I think anyone would get affected by the trolls, haters, etc.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it good?
I think so.
Smoothie. Have you ever thought of Scorpion Killer? Have you ever thought of trying a kayak trip instead of a canoe? Yeah, I would like to try that. Aaron's mom, Barb, is really into kayak tripping. So maybe I'll borrow her kayak at some point when we're going to move closer to them. Maybe she'll part with it for a weekend or something so I can try that. But I love the canoe for just kind of throw stuff in there. A fishing rod, you can just, leave on the floor of the canoe somewhere. And filming especially, I have all this filming gear around me. So I find the canoe extremely convenient for that. And for portaging, of course, it's a lot easier to portage a canoe with a good yoke than it is to portage a kayak. You can get a kayak cart or a canoe cart, but yeah, canoes are better for portage trips. Barrowquin Records again says, thoughts about ultralight gear versus traditional. I'm not usually an ultralighter, just because I find that most ultralight gear can't take the beating that traditional gear can. And on my trips, if I'm on a 10-day wilderness trip where I'm potentially days away from getting myself out of the trip, if things break, it can make life very difficult. So generally, I'm going on the heavier side, especially with something like a canoe. I've never owned an ultralight canoe. I would like to at some point for certain trips, but having rugged gear is very important to me. Yeah. Scout T, do you think Bigfoot is real? Have you ever experienced anything weird like that? I don't personally believe in Bigfoot, but I have no problem. I'm not hating on Bigfooters. If you enjoy that idea, then cool. And I just, to me, I feel like they would have found a carcass somewhere if they existed. That's my number one. I have several other things I would say, but no, I haven't really ever experienced anything weird. Nothing I couldn't explain or eventually explain. Sometimes in the moment something sounds weird, and then usually it's just a matter of not knowing. Sometimes in comments people will say what something is. I heard a raven making a really weird croak once. It was a strange sound, and I was like, what the heck is that? And then in the video's comments, people tell me, oh, it's a raven. So I find that mysteries just usually need explaining. It doesn't necessarily mean it's supernatural or anything like that. Sean Adams. John, love the channel. Long-term goals / plans. Hey, Sean. I don't know. I never dreamt that this would happen. So I'm trying to just enjoy what I do. I think that's my long-term goal. Make sure this stays enjoyable and fun, and my passion, because I couldn't do I wouldn't do this for anything else. I don't have the passion for anything else. So yeah, making sure I don't. A lot of creators burn out. If you're in the creator industry, you'll hear about this all the time, burnout, because the opportunity is infinite. You can create as much content as you want, and you constantly have ideas and not enough time. And then as you get bigger, brands want to partner with you. Generally, we're not doing any partnerships because I just don't have time to really give back, and because we want to have control of the content. So yeah, I just want to keep it enjoyable and keep it my passion. I never want this to feel like work, because if I turn my passion into work, then I will have failed. Like something went wrong. But mostly I want to do longer trips for the future. Again, maybe someday I won't do as many short videos. But Bill Swartzwelder again says, hearing the woman's voice. Yeah. So that's on one of my first trips that I ever did on YouTube. I heard this weird song. I didn't notice it in person. When I got home, I was reviewing footage. There was this weird la 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 on the footage. It was bizarre. Really weird. I was beside some rapids, I think, and rapids can produce some weird frequencies. And sometimes I have heard voices around rapids, but that's not uncommon. Like a lot of people will tell you that. It's just frequencies. But anyway, that's one of the weirdest things. But again, I just feel like there's probably some explanation. NM1C0 says Bigfoots burn, they're dead though. Maybe they do. But out of all of history, like we dig up T-Rex bones, and you're telling me that one Bigfoot never died anywhere that its clan didn't know about and couldn't have been found. I don't know. That's just my belief. Scout T, do you ever carry a firearm? So I'm in Canada, so firearm regulations are a lot different. Generally, as far as I understand, you're not allowed to carry guns for self-protection. You can carry them for hunting and whatnot, but it has to be in season. You need a license or whatever. I don't know. I don't really know the gun rules, because I don't feel like I need one, except if I went into polar bear country, I wouldn't go into polar bear country without a gun. And that is one thing that deters me from doing like a Hudson Bay trip. I've often wanted to do some sort of Hudson Bay tributary trip where I take a river down to Hudson Bay or James Bay. But yeah, the thought of polar bears really does scare me. And I'm very like rational with black bears, and I'm not really, I respect them, but it's not a fear that tears me apart. But polar bears, totally different story for me. But I would consider going with someone doing a trip like that if I went with someone who was licensed to carry a shotgun and knew how to operate it and how to handle themselves around polar bears. I would need that level of comfort to do that, because they're real animals. Beautiful, and I respect them, but yeah, I'm scared of them. Island Lake RC says, did your dad ever get even with the shoreline pooper? Someone pooped on my dad's property. A boat came up early in the morning, some fishermen, and someone pooped on their property. No, sadly, no. It's such an unbelievable thing to do. Get out of your boat and like poop on someone's obviously private property, like right in front of their house. Bizarre. Yeah, so I'll wrap up soon, answer a few more questions here. This is kind of making me forget that I'm sick, or getting sick. I was starting to feel pretty low energy, but this is actually helping. Just random footage says, hi John, I live in Sweden and go out a lot too, but can't seem to sleep well and stay warm when it's strong winds and minus degrees. Also when it's constant rain. Any tips? I don't know, like the easy answer is buy better gear, but it takes a while for people to save up money to buy good gear. And I would say simple things that don't cost money. Make sure you're going to bed bone dry. If there's any sweat on your clothing, that's going to chill you all night. So I keep a separate set of clothes for sleeping in, and I try not to put them on until right before bed or when I know I'm not going to be sweating that day. You can take a hot water bottle into your sleeping bag to use as a heat source, but make sure it's done up tightly, because if it leaks, that's going to affect the insulation in your bag, especially if it's down. If you're cold and your sleeping bag is rated to a degree where it should be keeping you warmer, it could be the insulation underneath you on your sleeping pad. So you could consider adding a closed cell foam pad, just a cheap CCF pad underneath your sleeping pad. Those don't cost much and they can help. You could add a sleeping bag liner, a fleece liner to your sleeping bag. So all those are things that don't cost much if you don't want to buy like a -30 down bag. Because I know that's tough. They can be $1,000 easily. Canadian anyway. Abandoned West, love your content, John. Thank you. Do you ever leave the camera gear behind to take a trip just for yourself? No, I haven't for a long time. I can't even remember the last time. On the trip with the guys last fall, with Max, Xander, and Keenan, the company, that's what I called that video, if it rings any bells. I took a step back from filming on that trip, which is why it was much more edited. Like I needed to kind of bring it together in the edit more than in the footage, because I took a bit of a step back on filming because I just wanted to enjoy the time with the guys and get to know Keenan and Max, who I hadn't met in person before. But I love filming. Like I would be remorse to leave the camera gear behind. I would rather leave my fishing gear behind than leave my camera gear, because I love it that much. I think I saw a question asking a tropical island trip. Yeah, that would be, there it is, Dennis Smeets. Tropical island trip would be really fun, actually. I have something in the back of my mind. Yeah, I won't say anything. I'm not going to promise anything. Like I try to under promise and over deliver. I don't like promising things that I don't pull through on. Adrian A says, any recommendations for a lightweight tarp company? Well, Amok has great tarps for the drummer. Maybe they're too customized for the drummer, but I love their tarps, and they're solid. Cook Custom Sewing in the US has quite a good reputation. And I don't know, I can't think of any other brands I would really recommend. There are a lot of popular ones out there, but I wouldn't necessarily think of one that I can recommend. Father Tom Outdoors, thanks for all your kind comments lately. Do you take bear bangers? Sometimes, depending on where I'm going. I have some. Aaron's dad, Bill, gave me a bear banger kit, and I have tested one to see how they work, and it was really fun. It's hard not to just fire them off, because there's like this little childlike part of you that wants to. But I haven't had to use one yet. I did have a bear visit me on Lake Nipigon, but thankfully it was scared and ran off, as you hope that they do. Zach Mayer says, ever thought about doing a trip in the States, maybe Utah? That would be really cool. What I've thought about for going to the States for is a winter canoe trip, like Grand Canyon area, stuff like that. I think Xander's actually going down there this March or something. But yes, I would like to go somewhere warmer that would allow me to canoe in the winter. That's what appeals to me the most. However, I would love to see the mountains again. We have nice hills here in Ontario, Northern Ontario, but no real mountains. A couple of people suggested, Evan and Jeff suggested going to the Hudson Bay with the Bear Bros. Yep, Jim carries a shotgun, so they would be good to do that with. Scott Hillier, have you ever been asked to do events like Toronto's outdoor show? You'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, this is about as public of a live event as I'm really eager to or willing to do. Public speaking is just not for me. Like I'm a warrior and a planner, so like for months I'll be thinking about this event and trying to make sure that I plan for it to be perfect. And yeah, there are people who are good. People who are just can roll with the punches are better at doing that kind of thing because they can just kind of walk into an event and naturally speak to things. I can answer questions, but I'm not like a storyteller. I would not consider myself a storyteller. Scorpion Killer again asks, any scary experiences with moose? I had one bull visit me just on the other side of some shrubs at a campsite once 2 falls ago, and my knees were shaking because they are so powerful and unpredictable in the rut. So yeah, but that's it. Seen lots of moose, but never had an issue, thankfully. Andrew Golden, how do you feel about barbless hooks? I think that's a loaded question. Are you just trying to get me to like go off on barbless hooks for like an hour? I love barbless hooks. I can't recommend them highly enough. If you ever put one into yourself, you'll be glad that it's barbless. And if you ever put a barbed hook into yourself, hopefully it'll make you empathize with fish and what we put them through. One of my biggest motivations for fishing these days is just trying to raise the bar a little bit for fish handling. I guess that sounds sanctimonious, but I honestly just really care about it. I find a lot of fishing content hard to watch because there's just not a lot of respect for the fish. Not trying to be high and mighty about it, just my honest feelings. Barracuda Records, do you have a blog or is it all done via video? So my channel started out as Backcountry Angling Ontario. That was its original name, which was a mouthful. Had to change it because people couldn't remember it. It was too long. It was too specific. Like if I see a channel name that says a certain location, it's just less relatable. Just omit a location and let people kind of imagine it's their own environment, you know? But Backcountry Angling Ontario started out as a blog. Short-lived blog. Island Lake RC, when you shave your beard, do you think Aaron will be okay with your I Heart Xander face tattoo? Potato, why don't you use waders when pulling your canoe along rather than have wet boots for hours while rowing? That's a good question, and I did invest in a full dry suit, and now I have that. But in older videos, yeah, I had cold feet in fall and spring trips, cold, wet feet. But waders kind of sketch me out because if they fill with water, I don't know, I just worry about that. So I'd rather use dry bottoms instead. That kind of, you can Velcro them up around your waist. Brian, did the draw happen already? Yeah, it happened about 10 or 15 minutes into the stream if you want to go back. Alex, forgetting the last name now. One. Lame Duck Soup, have you ever considered acting as a guide and taking someone on your trips? I just don't know how. Wouldn't have the time to do it right now. But if YouTube ever died, I would probably consider trying to make a living guiding. However, I have a lot to learn. Especially, I wouldn't guide anyone on a whitewater trip unless it was like class 1 because I respect water and I know my skill level, which I could paddle up to class 3 rapid. I would try it anyway. Class 3 would really scare me. Class 2 I've gotten pretty comfortable with, but I still have too much to learn to be taking someone else's welfare into my hands. But flat water trips I could guide on, no doubt. But no time at the moment. Leo asks, John, what air pad are you using most right now? Most often the Amok Winter Light, which has an R value of 5. Especially in winter. That's my winter pad along with the closed cell phone pad. Jeff Delargy asks, thoughts about showing your trips with maps more often so I can replicate your trips. Often it's hard to know your routes. Is this done on purpose? Sometimes that's done on purpose. So I like to bring a paper map and film that, because I feel like if I do a map, kind of some high-tech map overview, for me, I worry it takes you out of the moment. And I'm trying to like give a nature experience more than anything. So I try to not bring in visuals that like remind you that you're watching something produced. That's just my personal style. So I like to show my paper map when I have one, but sometimes I either don't have a paper map or I'm somewhere where I just don't want to reveal because either someone told me it's their spot and I don't want to like broadcast it out to the world, or it's a small trout lake and it's just too sensitive. So yeah, usually it's deliberate. If I don't show it, there's usually a reason. Matt Van Dring asks, hey John, have you sprung on the Esquif Pocket Canyon yet? No, but definitely thinking about it, although I'm probably leaning toward the Prospector 15 at this point, because I'll mostly be using it solo, and we have a P17 if Aaron and I do tandem whitewater trips. However, the gel coat cracking is a bit of an issue, but we don't do that much whitewater, so together. Kylo Bay asks, the drive for getting outdoors is obvious, but what's your drive for sharing that with others? How do you hope your content connects with viewers/subscribers? That's a good question. It's kind of like what I just touched on. I know you asked this question before I said this, but providing people with a natural experience and helping people to appreciate and get to know nature and love it, and hopefully increase their desire to protect it, because a lot of people live in cities. They were never introduced to nature. Maybe their parents didn't grow up camping or whatever. They just don't get it out into nature. And if you don't know something, if you don't experience something, you don't really care about it. So my hope is that the videos help people just appreciate nature more. And it's just my passion. Like, I'm so passionate about wilderness tripping. And so that makes it easy to share because it's my passion. Like I said earlier, anything that wasn't my passion, I would never do this. Like, to do YouTube for cooking or whatever. Like, I just wouldn't have the drive to do it. It's so much effort. TB Fighting for Freedom, when you caught the big largemouth bass, were you fishing with barbless hooks? So if you're talking about the largest largemouth bass that I've ever caught, I think that was like close to 7 pounds. Assuming that's what you're talking about, that may not have been barbless at that point. That was about 5 years ago. And I was still wrapping my head around the potential of losing fish. At that point, I didn't get to fish as much. So keeping fish was really important to me. Now I'll admit, like, I get to fish as much as I want. So that's a privilege that most people don't have. So I understand if you don't want to go barbless, but if you mostly do catch and release, then I think it's the way to go. So yeah, that fish could have been barbed at that point. Yeah, I was transitioning. But going barbless was a slow transition for me. First, like everyone else, I had crankbaits or jerkbaits with 3 treble hooks on them, and they were all barbed. And then I was like, okay, well, it took the back hook and the front hook went in its eyeball, and I feel absolutely awful about this. This is a horrible feeling. This isn't what I want to do in nature when I'm fishing. I don't want to feel like this. So I started removing like the front hooks, or just leaving the back hook of the 3. And maybe I didn't even pinch the barbs at that point. And eventually I started pinching barbs and removing more hooks, and now I'm just single barbless hook on the back. That's it. Daver says, did you say you're relocating? Where are you moving to? We're moving still Superior area. We don't know exactly. We haven't found a house yet, but like greater Thunder Bay area, I guess. But we're hoping to not be in the city. Hopefully buy something with like a little bit of land. Nothing crazy, just a little. Some woods, some privacy. That would be nice. Shields says, if YouTube is your livelihood, views are everything. Do you analyze what drives million views versus something that does not? Thank you. Good question. Yeah, it definitely factors in. Like I'm trying to do what I love, but package it in a way that other people can appreciate. So if you look back at my older videos, you could compare them to today's videos and be like, man, you changed. I'm still the same. I'd say my values are still the same, but I'm trying to package it a little bit differently so that it has an audience, you know, like obviously I want it to get viewed. And YouTube has amazing analytics for your videos, which are quite addictive. And yeah, I love analyzing them, but a balance of staying true to yourself and packaging it in a way that is going to allow you to have an audience, the privilege of having an audience. Central Bigfoot, Florida Bigfoot. How many trips do you have in the can? Meaning edited, but not edited or produced yet. 3 or 4, and that's recent. I've had a big backlog recently of projects, and I usually don't like to have it too far back because I like this content to be seasonal, at least for Northern Hemisphere. It's obviously going to be the inverse for Australia and Brazil and anywhere in the Southern Hemisphere, and Argentina. But yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 projects on the go right now, including one week-long canoe trip that I'm kind of savoring, and I'll probably put that out in February. Just kind of nice to edit some canoe tripping footage slowly over the winter when I have time. Okay, maybe Vineyard Sky says, hi John, maybe you should everyone like your channel right now. Would that help you? Ask everyone to like your channel. So I've never asked in 5 years for you to like, sub, comment, share, subscribe, anything, because yeah, it's just not me, but it would help, I guess. Yeah, I think when YouTube was starting out 5 years ago, I think that was important because people were getting to know YouTube, and you needed to remind them, like, please like this, please share this, please subscribe. But now I feel like people know how YouTube works, and if they want to hit those buttons, then they will. But obviously appreciate those things immensely when people do them. Andrew Golden says, you actually still read books too. I appreciate that. Yeah, only in the backcountry. At home, I don't have the attention span. There are too many distractions at home, so it's really nice to have peace and quiet out on trips to do that. Fiscaflet says, I too have started to fish barbless. Felt it. I wanted to be a very small chance to hooking a fish. I wanted catching fish to be a rare gift. Very nice perspective. Matt Vandering asks, do you get recognized in the backcountry? How do you feel about this? How do you recommend we interact with influencers we bump into? A fun question. I would not call myself an influencer. Just a regular person. I would treat them like a regular person. you even have to mention their, I don't know, like people, I occasionally get recognized, especially in a small town. Not often in the backcountry because I often don't see anyone in the backcountry on my trips, but I think it's appreciated. Like I enjoy when people say hi and like, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. It's nice to get that feedback for sure. So don't be shy is I guess what I would say. I wouldn't call them an influencer because it's just, I don't know. It's just a label. We're just like you. Don't, although at the same time, I remember like the first time I met up with Joe. I've been watching Joe for years, and like there's a weirdness of seeing someone on your TV for a while and then seeing them in person. So I get that. But Jenny says, thank you for sharing your trips via videos. Do you write/journal on or about your trips as well? I journaled once when I was camping for a summer after I quit my marketing job. I brought a journal and I did that. And that was actually the original blog for Backcountry Angling Ontario, which became this channel. But since I haven't, because video just takes enough time, and I just prefer doing that format now. Chaz says, what are some good apps or websites for Canadian canoe routes? Well, My Canadian Canoe Routes is a great website for that stuff online. I'm on those forums. So if you have questions about routes and you post them there and I've done the route, I will probably respond because I do like helping people find routes. That would be the first thing I would recommend. Michael Plurd says, do you think being so tall is an advantage or disadvantage when in the bush? Example, fitting in the tent or canoe or hopping over fallen trees. That's an interesting one. I think it's an advantage for the most part, except for fitting into mass-produced products like a tent. I can't, like most even a two-person tent, I definitely have to sleep diagonally to fit my sleeping pad and my body. So that can be a disadvantage. In canoes, yeah, you can be a bit tighter, but I feel like just being a bigger human in general makes portage is easier, for instance. My stride is longer. Like Aaron is always struggling to keep up with me on land because my legs are just long. Things like that make it easier. Okay, just a couple more. I'm trying to just get to the bottom. Adventure Nomad says, is it true you do all your adventures in front of a green screen in a studio? I'm sure that's a tongue-in-cheek question based on my recent video about the common questions I get asked about people who think I'm lying about temperature. Temperature, when I show like minus 26 or minus 30, whatever, in thumbnails, that gets the most questioning because people just don't believe it. But certainly doable. DR says, did anyone find Xander's body yet? Yeah, a pack of wolves, but they wouldn't touch his flesh. They didn't want to eat him, but they defecated all over his corpse. Fifi says, are you related to Owen Wilson? No, but I've probably got like the beak to be related to Owen Wilson. Stark Raving Mad Adventures. Curious, how much time would you generally put into editing / preparing each week? I don't know. It's so hard to pinpoint it. I feel like I work from when I wake up to when I go to bed when I'm home. So I would safely say 70 to 80 hours a week when I'm home, because I'm away a third of the year, like I touched on before. And that just means whenever you get back, you're catching up for that time you missed, right? Hermit Fisher, I've been very impressed by your resilience and lack of complaining about the biting insects. Thanks. I've gotten used to them, I guess, and I've learned just from feedback, tough feedback sometimes, where people say, stop complaining when you're in like a swarm of black flies and you're complaining about it. I get that. People don't want to watch me complain. So the tough feedback is hard to take sometimes, but it can be useful. So yeah, I try not to complain about it. Plus, yeah, I've just gotten more used to it. It's just the price you pay for all the lakes and rivers we have around here is a lot of breeding ground for insects, but we're so lucky to have all these lakes. Stylist Meets Vinyl says, John, how do you deal with trolls in your comments? Definitely not strategically. Like, I don't have a format. I would say one of a few things. I'll either ignore. Increasingly, I'm hiding user from channel, which means they can still comment, but I won't see their comments because I just don't need that. Like, I get enough of it. Feedback's useful, but filtering out good feedback from bad is equally important. And the odd time I'll snap back and tell them to get lost because I'm human, and sometimes my patience runs out. But mostly comments are wonderfully supportive, and I really appreciate that so much. Tim Pierce, how much longer do you find trips take given that you're filming it all? I think it would take away from it for me. I totally get that. I would say I need got to be like 3 or 4 hours every day for filming commitments. So that can be hard on trips when you're trying to make distance and like get somewhere. But a lot of the filming I can do along the way, especially in the canoe, for instance. And I try to be efficient with it, and I increasingly am as I get more and more experience with it. Hermit Fisher, have you discovered any dietary adjustments that help with the thwarting of biting insects? No, there are a lot of things that people have told me, and I haven't properly tried them. Like, I think eating lots of garlic can apparently help, but no, I haven't explored that as much as I should have, because that can help a lot. Usually I don't use bug spray whatsoever. I just cover my skin with long shirt. I'll roll it up if I can and roll it down if I need the coverage. And then I have a full bug jacket if they're really bad, but I don't prefer to wear that because it's just very hot. Daver says he just bought a dehydrator. Can you recommend resources? Yeah, I touched on this earlier, but there's a channel called Kevin Outdoors. Kevin's my go-to. He's a local guy actually for dehydrating, and he also has a book called Backcountry Eats by Kevin Ride. If you want to look for it on Amazon. Best not to engage the trolls. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I just can't help myself. Okay, I think I will. Okay, here's one more I'll answer. I want to. Sawdust Sneeze says, I want to get back to canoe tripping soon while I can still carry a boat. Any tips for convincing the wife to come? Definitely don't dive into something that's going to be wet, buggy, grueling. Like, start off something really enjoyable. Bring some luxuries, like make sure that she has a chair and nice food and maybe some drinks that she likes. Try and pamper her to ease her into it. You might set the bar too high, but anyway, that'd be one way. But I think throwing someone off the deep end is a good way of making them hate it immediately. Chaz Chili says, John, Hopefully you're making a few extra bucks from when we leave your videos running all night when we sleep. I'm sure I am. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Oh, I'm at the bottom. Okay, JCam says, any portages you won't do again? Well, Diablo portage on the Steel River loop comes to mind, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again. Aaron and I did an awful portage this August on our 11-day trip where she hurt her knee. That was one of the worst. I wouldn't do that until it's cleared again. Okay, I like this one. Tony, my partner is letting me choose a trip in Ontario this year. We live in Quebec. If you had to choose a 10-day trip in eastern-ish Ontario, where would you go? Okay, so if it's in eastern Ontario, I haven't actually canoe tripped that much in eastern Ontario. I know Algonquin's the obvious choice, and that has great potential, but a lot of the year is quite busy. So, I would probably, if you could make the drive over to Temagami, that would be my choice, if that's not too far. Paul, thanks for the merch purchase. Who won? Alex Clement. It's in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. Alan, why don't I fly fish? I think. Yeah, it's just more gear to bring. I might get into it someday, but it's just I want my spinning route combo, and if I want to get into fly fishing, then I need to bring two. So, yeah. Dale, have you ever done woodland caribou? No, but it is high on my list. And when we move to the Thunder Bay area, then I will probably it'll come higher up on my list. Andrew Golden, do you have your own fish seasoning? No, I've been using this lemon pepper batter by Outdoor Flavors, I think they're called. Bought it at a local grocery store in Canada, and I really like that. The lemon pepper is beautiful. Temagami, yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's a great choice. I haven't canoed the French River. Jim and Tori Baird are doing posting a trip right now on that. If you're interested, enjoying their trip. Will you ever get into hunting? I don't really see it happening. No, probably not. Fishing is enough for me. Okay, I think I'll wrap it up. I'm losing steam. If you missed it, Aaron has COVID. I'm definitely coming down with COVID, so I'm gonna rest up. But thank you so much, everyone who's still around, and for joining and all your support. If you're here, you're probably someone who's really supportive, and we truly appreciate that. So thanks a million. And if you didn't win the draw, if your name's not Alex Clement, then think about save up your shekels and buy yourself a drummer if you've been thinking about it. They're really fantastic. And if you want to tell Amok that you were inspired to buy it because you saw it on our channel, that's great. All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And lots of content to come soon. Stick around. Okay. See you guys.